Get this. What if the next leap in high-speed computing isn't made from silicon, but from shiitake mushrooms? Now, I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But according to a wild new paper in the journal PLOS ONE, it's actually happening. Scientists have really done it. They've built a living computer out of fungus.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Forget the massive factories, forget the clean rooms and complex supply chains. What if your next computer was literally grown in a lab? Cultivated from the same kind of organism you might slice up for a stir-fry. It's a pretty wild thought, right? But it's exactly where this incredible new research is taking us.
So why are we even looking at mushrooms to do our math? Well, this isn't just some wacky science experiment for the fun of it. It's actually a serious search for a solution to a huge problem. We desperately need an alternative to the silicon chips that, let's be honest, run our entire world. And that alternative needs to be powerful, but also sustainable.
Okay, let's just break this down, because the contrast here is pretty stark. On one side, you've got our good old silicon chips. They're insanely expensive to make. They rely on mining rare minerals that are running out, and they create a mountain of e-waste. But then, look at the other side, shiitake mycelium. You don't fabricate it, you just grow it, which is way cheaper. It's totally organic and biodegradable, so no e-waste. And get this, it even has this bizarre superpower that silicon doesn't. It's naturally resistant to radiation.
To really get why this is such a big deal, we've got to zoom out a little. Our entire digital life, everything we do online, is built on a technology that has some pretty serious hidden costs, not just for the planet, but for our bank accounts too.
Yeah, the cracks in the silicon foundation are really starting to show. The factories, or foundries, to make these chips cost billions of dollars to build. The materials are finite. We're creating mountains of old phones and computers, and the amount of energy these things consume is just staggering. We're basically hitting a wall.
So where do you even start to look for an answer? Well, these researchers looked to nature's own secret weapon, the fungal network. They're figuring out how to unlock the hidden computing power inside a simple shiitake mushroom, and what they're finding could honestly change everything.
So this whole approach is part of a really cool field called neuromorphic computing. The big idea is to build computers that think less like a calculator and more like, well, us. Instead of processing things one step at a time, these machines are inspired by the messy, interconnected web of our own brains, which makes them way more efficient at learning and handling complex tasks.
And the key building block for these brain-like computers is this little thing called a memristor. The easiest way to think about it is like a resistor that has memory. It actually remembers how much electricity has passed through it before. It's a lot like a synapse in your brain, the connections that get stronger or weaker the more you use them.
And here is the absolute kicker. Nature already built these things for us. That tangled, root-like web of a fungus, the mycelial network, it is a natural memristor. All those tiny interconnected fibers are already perfectly designed to send signals and process information, just like a biological brain.
Okay, so that's the theory. But how on earth did they actually take this idea and turn a living organism into a working piece of electronics?
The process they came up with is actually surprisingly simple and kind of beautiful. First, they just grow the mycelium in a petri dish. Then, they dry it out so it becomes this stiff little disc, almost like a tiny circuit board made of fungus. And here's the magic part. They just spritz it with a little bit of water to wake it up electrically, hook up some electrodes, and see what happens.
But it wasn't a slam dunk right away. The first tests were, well, they were a letdown. When they put a current through it, the fungus just acted like a boring old resistor. There was no sign of that special memory effect they were hoping to find.
And this is the moment it all paid off. The researchers kept tweaking things, and then suddenly, on their screen, they saw it. That glowing figure-8 shape you see there, that's called a pinched hysteresis loop. It is the classic, unmistakable fingerprint of a memristor. They'd found it. This was the big eureka moment.
So boom, they proved the concept. A mushroom can act like a computer component. But what does that really mean? What can a fungus-powered computer actually do? Okay, this is where it gets really, really cool.
When they tested it as a form of volatile memory, kind of like the RAM in your computer, this little living circuit was operating at nearly 6,000 hertz. That's almost 6,000 cycles every single second. For something that was literally grown in a dish, that is just mind-blowingly fast.
And it wasn't just fast, it was also super reliable. In their read and write tests, the mushroom memristor hit 90% accuracy.
That's pretty amazing. It was getting it right 9 times out of 10, with an error margin of just 1%.
So when you add it all up, the advantages are just incredible. We're talking about a computer component that's sustainable, completely biodegradable, and could help solve our e-waste crisis. It uses less power, it's super lightweight, and then you have that hidden superpower again. It's incredibly resistant to radiation.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote from the actual research paper says it all. That radiation resistance isn't just a party trick. It means these fungal computers could work in places our normal electronics can't survive, like on missions to deep space or in other really harsh environments. It is a total game changer for anything related to aerospace.
All of this really just leads to one final massive question. For decades, we've been trying to build our technology from scratch, using inert materials like silicon. But what if the best hardware in the universe has been growing right under our feet this whole time? This research makes you wonder. Maybe the future of technology isn't something we build at all. Maybe it's something we grow.